and welcome to MIP TV. And with me is John Blend, one of the presenters at the Manchester Institute for Psychotherapy conference in October of 2017. So thank you so much for joining us, John.
You're welcome.
And I'm absolutely fascinated with the title of your workshop, House Tree Person, a graceful way of helping children and adolescents engage in therapy. It sounds fascinating.
Well, shall I tell you a little bit about it?
That'd be lovely.
It's actually an old psychological test that was done in the 50s of the last century, the 1950s. And it was a personality test. And it kind of fell into disrepute as that because it's subjective. And the way I use it, and the way I've been taught to use it, is really as almost like a cosmopolitan quiz. It's something that's a bit of fun, and it's a good way of helping break the ice when clients come in and they're nervous, they don't know what to expect, and it gives them something to do with their hands, and also an opportunity not to have to eyeball the therapist. They can look away at what they're drawing and then look back and peek. Oh, does he look stern still? Does he remind me of somebody I really had trouble with? Oh, he saw me, right? So I can look away again. And as a therapist, I can play this tennis game too. So we kind of find a way of using this piece of a drawing exercise that's fun and not contentious, it's easy, both to kind of ease the client into the space so that they're not going to run out. If you like, the first task of therapy is to help somebody stay in the room. But also it's an opportunity to check out how we're coming across each other.
Absolutely. It sounds, and I noticed that it is for helping children and adolescents. It was an idea developed by Donald Winnicott, who's a famous child psychologist, and he called it the squiddle technique. But it's
slightly different. Winnicott's one was different because he interpreted the results, and in this thing, the way we use it, which is quite unique, is not to interpret, but really to make guesses about the client and ask them to tell us anything we get right and anything we get wrong. And you can imagine that for many kids and teenagers, having an adult say, oh, well, I got that wrong, didn't I? Could be quite an incredible experience. Maybe the first time they've heard an adult say they got it wrong, or to be able to get something right and not rub it in their face, so to speak.
Absolutely. And as I say, working with children, you quite rightly identify that some may be nervous or unsure.
Yeah.
There could be transferences there because a lot of children are around people like teachers and the parents. And
yes,
as a therapist, you represent a adult, and that can be sometimes quite challenging for young people. So the sense is it's not interpretation as Winnicott did, but it's a way of engaging clients and building a dialogue in a way that is kind of gentle and non-intrusive.
I think so. And it's also, I often say, do you ever have a time in your life when words don't quite hit the spot? And I think for many of us, and particularly young people, we're not always so able to find that verbal way of conveying something. But drawing is something that's pretty close to us from the outset. So being able to scribble a mark and draw a house or a tree or a person on a piece of paper and then talk a little bit about it, it enables us to have something that's like a comfortable way in. And I'm not going to tell you your tree means this or your house means that. But I'm going to ask you about, and I might make a couple of guesses, and as I say, tell me anything I get right or wrong. And that really puts the kid at their ease, I think.
Yes, and I'm kind of wondering, could this technique be used for adult clients who may be a bit shy or reticent?
That's a good question, yes. And people whose verbal skills maybe aren't the strongest suit for them. So there are many people who are strong on movement or gesture or have ways of relating to the world. So yes, there's a whole range of people who might find this just a nice way in to study them. And what we're doing is kind of acting as midwife to the process. It's like we're hosts at the party, and we want people to have a good time and not to run out screaming. Well, we hope that's not going to happen.
Yes, we wouldn't want that. Yes. So I think this is probably going to be a must-book workshop for people who are child and adolescent therapists, or maybe for those of us who work with adults who want maybe a new way of thinking or a new technique to be able to help more reticent clients who may not have big verbal skills to engage and, seems to me, more importantly, develop that really important therapeutic relationship.
Yeah, one thing I should say is it's really important when often people will freeze and say, I can't draw, or ooh. So I always say, well, I can't draw to save my life. It's not about how good a drawer you are. And then people go, they breathe and they realize, yeah, it's okay. And it's a bit of fun, and it also offers the opportunity to gently model a kind of respectful way of being with a client. We're not going to barge into the defenses and ask some terrible exposing questions on the first session. We're just going to take it easy, and it'll be like not like Wimbledon, perhaps like a more gentle rally in terms of our looking at each other, checking each other out, back to the drawing, back to the other.
Yes, more like a bit of underhand tennis as opposed to the high-speed engagements we've seen at Wimbledon. Yeah, a little bit of underhand, gently batting and forward. It paints a beautiful picture, doesn't it, of just batting it gently and checking it out and moving at the client's pace. So, John Blend, I'm sure that you're going to get a lot of people coming to this workshop. It sounds absolutely fascinating. And Thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview.
You're very welcome.